Howdy everyone, thanks for watching CheapShot. Today we are going to, now why isn't that working? If you just give me 1 second, we lost the shapes that we're gonna do. We're already, I worked really hard on this and we're already messed up. But thanks for watching CheapShot. What we are gonna do today is we are going to, why isn't it working? I'll bring it in. We're going to be going through this textbook, Creo Parametric version 6.0, and it has a bunch of basically example exercise problems. And so what we're going to go through is we're just going to try and do as many of these exercise problems that we can. And the point of these problems is to just kind of, let's see if I can get this pulled up one more time. The point of these problems is just to kind of, get used to whatever modeling software you're using. And, we're going to use Fusion. That's what most people use because it's free. So, we'll drag it on there. This is the first one we're going to make. It's just a U-shape. This one's going to be super simple, just an extrusion. You can see, as we go through, they get harder and harder and harder. There's roughly 50 or so of them. And there's different ways that we can do this. There's different styles and whatnot. But we're just going to go through, and it may take a while. Feel free to come or go, or if you have any questions over something, feel free to ask in the chat. I'll be looking at that. But we're just going to make these extrusion or these pieces, and we're going to learn a little bit about modeling. So this is a U shape, very easy. We'll just sketch this U and we'll extrude it out. So we want to start here on any plane, it doesn't really matter. And we just want to make our U shape. We've got a couple options to make our U shape. We can just use a square, just make a U shape like this. One thing, if we want it to have the same thickness, I can right click and I can do an offset, chain the offset, and I can make it so it's the same thickness all the way around. And then what I can do is I have to connect it. And then I can take this and I can hit extrude, I can select that plane and I can just extrude it out. And easy peasy lemon squeezy. There we have that. That looks pretty good. That's one part down. Moving on to the next part, we got this step feature. This one will kind of do the same thing. We'll kind of make this step and then we'll bring it down. So You know, I had it set up so that way, like this like little picture was oh, that's probably why it messed up. It's probably because every time I change the thing, it changes the picture thing. That's what it did. Okay, never mind then. All right, well, we'll do this step, right? So we can do this, you know, let's just keep this on the same thing on this plane. And, you know, we can just see it's just a simple step pattern like a stoop. So this one, these first couple ones are pretty easy. You know, it doesn't have to be exact. When I took this class, basically what we were doing was, you know, each section has different things in a modeling software that it wants to teach you. And so this was just to make sure that you understood that. So once again, please let me know in the chat if there's anything about Fusion or modeling that you want to know. So there we go. We got the step. Pretty good. This one, same thing. Now we have two options. We can either draw this as a circle or we can make it as a square. So let's do it the two different options, right? Well, what I mean is we can make this as a square, right? These are the two different ways that we can do this. And I can either add a fillet now and fillet that 35, and we can extrude both of these. Or in the case of this block, I can add the fillet now. You know, that's an option. You can either do it at the time you're sketching it or add the fillets in later. If it's something hard, you know, you can do the fillet at that time. But if it's something that's just for looks, wait to do the fillet later until you're all done. But that was two different ways just to do this one shape. Moving over this shape, this is kind of different because we got these circles here. Now you can try to make this by using like a fine point spline to make a curve, but we're just going to use that fillet tool again, and we're just going to come down. We're going to offset this because we want it the same everywhere. Connect them. Now just like that other piece, I can take and I can put my fillet in right there. Let's make it a little deeper. Let's say 15. Oh, a CheapShot. That doesn't look the same. Well, you know what? I actually may have misspoke because if I just do the fillet on this side, well, I'd have to extrude it first. Idiot. If I just did the fillet on this side, it's not really gonna watch what happens. So I can do a fillet over here, 15. I got to make sure though that I come up here and do that. So in this case, doing it all on the sketch would probably be the best bet. But either way, we've got it. This has been just a couple minutes. We've already gone through 4. Like I said, these first ones are going to be super easy. But as we get harder, especially towards the end, you know, we're only 10% of the way done. They're going to start getting a lot harder. This one, we have some circles. Fusion makes this super easy. We'll just get some circles up here, right? A big circle. See how this line comes? Tells me it's center. I can do it over here, whatnot. Do a smaller circle. And we can just come up here to the apex, and it'll literally help me with that. And I can select all these shapes. I'm holding shift, and I can extrude them up. You can see the lines weren't exactly where I wanted them to be on this side. I can take and right click on the sketch, and I can edit it. You see how I accidentally came out? So let's delete this line. Let's just drag that point right where it needs to go. Hit OK, and then we fixed it. Right? So boom, there's 5. Number 6. All right, how are we gonna make this? Any idea? Let's do a square, and then we'll do a circle, and then we can do another circle, pushing it through, or we can just do it all in one go. We can do that too. So let's take, and it doesn't really matter what plane we sketch on. So we can do like a square. Once again, Please drop a chat if there's anything about modeling that you'd like to see. See how this, I come over here and I get this triangle, which means I'm center point. So we can do that. And then we need to have our inside. This isn't going to look exactly the same. But now I can select what parts I want. You know what? That doesn't even look remotely what I wanted. My fault. Let's do this. Let's start with a circle and then do a square. So that'll be our outer part of the arch. That'll be our inner part of the arch. And then we can do a center point rectangle. And we can do that. Cool. Now the cool thing with Fusion 360 is if I was using Creo, Creo sucks. Creo wouldn't like me to do this. But I can select this arch and I'm holding shift. Do I want to hold shift? Yeah, I want to hold shift. Sometimes I can't remember if it's shift and control. I think it doesn't really matter on this. But I can just select this top part and then I can select these. And I can select these as the only parts that I want to extrude out. So I can extrude those out. Bada bing, bada boom. There's our shape. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Number 7, a bushing. Do I really need to show that? We kind of just literally did that with a circle. Like I said, I'm just going through this this textbook. It does want to do some things where because it has you make these parts, and then some of the chapters it has you assemble these parts into a big thing, and you can spin them all around and stuff. But we're not going to do that. So look at all these parts we got. This was just a couple minutes. It's pretty easy. This part's going to need 2 extrusions. So how are we going to make this? Well, let's break it down. Let's make this part first. Now we can either make this as a square, and then we can cut the notch in. Let's just model it with the notch already in it. So lately we've just been doing the same plane. Let's start, let's take that. And now we need to make our notch. We're going to learn how to do a mirror right now. So let's take and actually extrude this out. And basically I'm going to make one side and then I'm going to mirror it over to the other side. So what I need is I need a plane for this. So I want to do a mid plane, midway between this object and this object. Cuts it right down the center. I can click this surface now. This is a surface I want to be sketching on. Create a sketch. And I don't really have to remember these measurements because whatever I'm going to do on this side, I'm going to mirror to the other side. And I don't have to finish it, but I will just for good etiquette. But so now what I can do is I can take this, I can extrude it distance to object. I just want it to come to this back side. And then I can take this extrusion, I can create a mirror. I already have the extrusion selected, and I can mirror it across this mid plane. And there, it cut it. And I know that that is perfectly in center, mirrored from the left side to the right side. But we have to add this little part right here. So how can we do that? Some people might be tempted to draw it on this back side and then extrude it up. We're going to do 2 steps. We're going to make a square and then we will fillet it. Well, if we did a fillet there, it would have to come up and around. I guess we'll do that on the back side. So create a sketch. I regret now leaving all these shapes here, but that's all right, because even though I'm sketching on that bottom part, I can still come and view at the top part. That's totally fine. And I'm just going to come to the edge, see how it snaps in. Now it doesn't really, it will kind of snap in on this point, but not really. But what I can do is I can do a 3-point rectangle. And that way I can have 1 point be here. It kind of didn't do it. 1 point be there. And then you see, oh, that's why I didn't snap. It's because it's the, it's because it was the wrong shape. Let's try this again. I can snap 1 point here. I can snap 1 point there, and I can bring it out. And then look, it's kind of got this circle shape with some fillets. So we can do that. Triangle to find the center point, bring it in. And we're just going to extrude. Well, we're going to extrude everything but the part that's touching. And we'll just extrude it up. And that has some curved geometry. You know, I'm not going to go back and fix it, but we can select these points right here and give them a little bit of a fillet. Like I said, please hit it up in the chat if there's anything in Fusion 360 that you would like to see done. We are on number 10. I remember this one from my homework. I didn't like it very much. So let's take and start off. How are we going to start off with this? This one, I think what we'll do is we'll do the side, and we'll basically make a square, chamfer the sides, and then we'll make another plane with basically that section, and we'll just zoom it through. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about a square, and it comes up to a point. Now see, look at these. These are parallel. I want these to be equal to each other. So we're going to do a constraint right here, an equal constraint. So we want this line to equal that line, and we want that one to equal that one, and that'll, you know, just make it real easy. So we got that, and we want to extrude it out. Boom. And then what shape do we have? Well, that didn't really work out very well, but we just want to extrude out everything but this circle shape. So that's fine. I can click on this wall, and we're kind of doing the opposite. We're kind of doing we're putting in everything that we want to keep. So I want to keep that circle. I want to keep a square. Right, and this can come all the way down. And then what I can do, I don't need to do all that. I just need to do this part. I just need that. And I can extrude this out. Boom. We didn't get our dimensions just quite right, but it's good enough for government work. It's good enough for what we're doing. And then number 2, I can do these 2 squares, and then I can mirror an arch over these. So why don't we do that? Let's take and make our 2 squares. And let's just do 10 by 10. How far apart? It doesn't matter. 10 by 10. Let's extrude them out 50, and then we have arches over them. How can we make these arches? Easy. Or how can we make 2 of them? We're just going to use that same tool we did before, that same trick, the midplane. And then we can sketch on this one, and we can do our first arch. You know, you can do different types. I never forget like which one I like to do. I guess this one is good enough. You know, because they're all kind of different. Well, see, they're all kind of different. Let's do this one. See, I completely freaking forgot, you know? I literally just did it. And like I said, I forget what arch is what. And remember, we need to connect them. And then we can extrude them out. So there's our arch. So we need to bring it over to the other side, remember? So I want to click this extrusion just to make it easy. Create, mirror. Our object is already selected. Our mirror plane is this one. And we've made our part. Is that backwards? Did my dumbass make it? Yeah. Oh, it's all right though. All right, this part, we're going to make this with two pieces. We're going to do two extrusions, one extrusion up, one extrusion down. This first chapter is like almost all about extrusions. So we've got a square, and what else? Then we have a circle on there. This is kind of like a part that we did on the last one. Let's extrude it. And then I can just come in here and I can extrude it again, taking away material. So there's my center point, and that'll tell me, this circle right here will tell me when I'm in the center point of that original circle. So I can click that, open it. So now, this time when I hit extrude, you know, before we've just been joining, you can see here. Now, Fusion will do it automatically, but when I bring it in, it'll turn red and it'll cut. Now I can do all sorts of things. I can only cut it this far. I can cut it that far. But one thing you should do is come over here, and where it says distance, you should either change it to all if you want it to go through everything, or to object, and you can click this object that you want it to extrude to. But this is good because if, you know, I can also hit this object over here and it'll extrude out that distance. But we'll just do it there. And there's our shape. So we got another one. This is going to be just kind of the same shape. You know, just kind of the same pattern where we come up. Remember last time we used constraints? You know, sometimes people will sit here, and I know I did when I first started, I would sit here with like a notepad and I would write, okay, I made this one 24.083 millimeters long at 138.4 degrees. Okay, no, just make that, bring it in. And then we're gonna use our equal tool. That equals to that. This equals to that. Bada beam, bada boom, we're done. You know, especially for this where it doesn't really matter what the length is. So that needs to be extruded out with a circle. So we're actually gonna go back into the sketch and we're gonna give it a circle to begin with. So there's my equal point. We're gonna extrude this out. Please let me know in the chat if you're finding this helpful. I would really appreciate the feedback. You know, it kind of sucks. You're just sitting here talking to yourself. Also, let me know in the chat if there's anything in Fusion 360 or CAD in general that you want to know. I'd be more than happy to answer that for you. We'll bring that up a little bit because we got to remember that we need to make room for our cutout. And we can extrude it. We're going to do the same thing to object. See, if we did it, are those matched? If we did it through all, it would keep going. I don't think there's anything in the way yet, but we'll keep it there. And there is our object. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. You know, I was talking to Control Pew about this, and I was like, hey man, like, is this something that like your viewers may want to watch? And he goes, possibly. He goes, but I think my viewers would be more interested about actually like 3D printing, like making a firearm. And I was like, I can't do that on YouTube Live, dude. Plus, I've never really done it on my own from scratch, so I kind of want to be that good. Ugh. But that's all right. So moving on to the next one. This one's going to be some flays. We haven't done a flay in a couple times. So let's take and make our square. Now we can do the same thing. Well, let's extrude that out. And we can do the same thing we did before. Remember where we took and we right-clicked, sketched, and we offsetted? We can do that too. And we need to extrude that square in. And then we can come in and flay the insides. And we could have flayed the outsides at the same time if we really wanted to. But I kind of want to give them a different dimension. Like maybe a little bit deeper. Yeah. That's a lot different. It's a lot more round than I wanted. But it's the same principle of the fact, you know. So what's the next one? Next one's this kind of jazzy shape. Jazzy, what is jazzy? What the hell does jazzy mean? Oh yeah, this shape's called jazz. Well, isn't jazz what when you'd go to like the Taco Bells and they would have kind of like that weird like bust design to them, like with the different colors. I'm pretty sure that was called jazz, like American jazz or something. I'm pretty sure that is that. Remember before where we did the equals? We can do that again. I don't know. I'm not a design person. My wife, though, she went to art school for a while. And so she actually... Now, hold on. Let me stop my tangent to talk about this. I just did that shape. So, I essentially want to cut this out. So these don't really matter. But I need to make sure I do a line over here, because this is actually what I'm going to extrude out. See how now I can select it? So we're going to use the not parallel, equal. That is equal to that. That is equal to that. But all the time, she'll see like a design. I'm like, oh, look at that guy in that flannel shirt. And she'll be like, oh, that's not flannel. That's Irish creamsicle dream of independence. Don't you know the difference? I'm like, what's the difference? And she goes, oh, well, plaid is just lines. But then Irish creamsicle is lines and then little lines. And I go, how the hell do you know that? Like what is that? Is that what all the money you went to art school got you? This is a square. This is a square. It's just a square and a circle. These are kind of... Let me know in the chat if you want to skip these boring ones and go through some more of the other ones. I'm going to go through them all. So, but as you can see, they get a little bit more fun. I guess I only have a few more boring ones to go. Here's a little sneak peek at what we're going to do. Ending with that. So, I guess there's only like 2 more boring ones left. All right, let's do this one. Square. I got to pull it up. I need to start pulling this over so I can remember what it looks like when I do them. And I wanted to make it so that you guys could see it too. That would be like a slideshow and it'd be up the whole time. But the issue is loading the slideshow and loading the slideshow up, it just wasn't working. And it would only do a couple at a time. But I couldn't get it to just load them all. So I thought, oh, why don't I just pull the pictures up and then I have it, stream in a little box, that window. Then it decided that like, okay, well technically because the name of the window changes with every other picture, after the first picture, it's not going to work anymore. And I was like, this is some bullshit. So look at this. We're going to do another extrude, but we got to do 2 sides. Because look at this. It comes all the way down and we made a boo-boo. We could have taken and made this circle on this other side, or we could have just extruded it that way. But we made a boo-boo, so we got to do 2 sides. And I don't know if you know this. You probably don't if you're watching this. But I can extrude both sides. I can just come out and I can just come to one side. I can come to another side. I can come both sides equally, or I can do one side a little bit and the other side a whole lot. It's totally cool. It's fab. So I can come over here where I have one side. I have the 2 sides, right? That's, a little bit one side, a lot of little. And then I have symmetric. So I want to do 2 sides. And this distance, right? I can just drag it. That's fine. I actually need to do both of those. And then this one is going to be 2 object because I don't remember how thick I made this. So I can just click back here and it's going to want to get it away. It's going to automatically default to cut. But it's easy peasy to just come over here and just hit join. And there's our shape. Oh shit, we forgot that part. That's all right, because we can just extrude that away. Oh my goodness, look at that. I love how I'm using this textbook that's for Creo when I could not have done that in Creo. I mean, I could have. I mean, I would have had to make a new circle, but it would have been a pain in the butt to do with Creo. We've only been doing this about 30 minutes, and in Creo, we would have been here probably an hour already. Please drop a chat if you're having a good time watching this, if you're learning something. If there is something on Fusion that you want to learn, please let me know. We're kind of getting into the hard parts now. Just kidding. This one's easy. But the next ones, they're going to start getting harder. And like I said, we're going to try and go through all 50 or so. What are we on now? Well, 6, it started over. We're doing good. We're doing good. So this is just, we can make this as like a U shape like we did before. So let's just edit that. A U shape, cut it down, add a circle. So where's this part? Right here, our U shape. Create a sketch. I can just make a line. And I'm not editing the sketch. I'm literally just sketching on the side. And a circle. And then watch this. This is going to be the quickest one we've done so far. Extrude it out to the other side. Magic. Magic. Imagine that. It's so quick. Next one. This one's a little more difficult. So, how are we going to do this? Do you got any ideas? Because I already know. Well, do I? I mean, we could technically make this like a block and then cut it through. Or we could kind of sketch this geometric shape. Whoops. So let's do this. Let's start off with a block, and we'll do the equal thing again. Not a block. We'll do it line by line, and we'll do that equal thing again. So let's come out here. We got the back. We got the outside, right? And then it comes over. I think it comes out, comes in, comes down, right? Comes out, comes in, comes up to that, something like that. Oh, those are supposed to be straight. We can do that. So straight, boom. Look how it locked in. You see that? It's already locking in that it knows it wants to be perpendicular. So I know that, where's my things? I know I want that to be perpendicular, vertical, that to be vertical, over constraint, it's fine. I want this to be perpendicular. I want this to equal that. I want this to equal that. I want that to equal this. I want this to equal that. I want that to equal this. And I want this to equal that. And I'm done. And you see how I could just, you know, like I said, dimensions don't matter on this. But we cut that out. And then what's next? And then we have this little blocky thing right here. I can do that. I can come through and come down, over, around, and back through. Right? I mean, roughly, you know, is that an A? No. Is that a B minus? Probably. But I'll take it. I'll take a B minus. That's okay by me. So next part, we got this shape. We got like a L bracket. So we're going to do that as the name suggests. We'll make an L. You know, there's a couple different ways. We can make it one side, then we can extrude out, then extrude up, or we can make an L. We could round, and then we can add our other part. So let's do this. Let's make our L. I can come up, and I can come around. I like to use the offset tool, as we've discussed. We'll just say 5. And I want to close it. Now, let's extrude it. And now we need to make our rounds, right? Because it's rounded on both sides. So we can hit Flay. We can select that, and we select that. And because we did that offset, we know that it's the same. Hit 10 because it's 20, right? It actually won't let us go more. It'll block out. Yeah. So we can just do 10. And then one cool thing is we need to do those circles. Even though we did a fillet, it'll still tell us where the center of those circles are, right there. So we can hit that. We can extrude it. We can come over here, do the same thing on this side. Extrude it. Please let me know if you're enjoying this. You know, leave me a chat. Just type in the chat. Let me know if there's anything that you want to see, that you're trying to learn, that you got a question about, something you're trying to make. Last time I did one of these, one of the guys was making a flag, and he's like, do I need to go through and do I need to make 50 freaking triangles? I was like, no, pattern tool, baby, pattern tool. We'll learn the pattern tool. And we use the pattern tool for not only the stars, but also the stripes. So if there's anything you want to learn or you're interested in doing yourself, put it in the chat. I'd be more than happy to explain that to you. And then we got this little nipple part coming up. We can just do kind of the same thing, just extrude it on this. Well, no, so we can extrude on this, make a square, round it, do the circle. Or, now hear me out, we can extrude it on this and just do one extrusion. So we're going to do that. So we're going to take, because we're lazy, so we're going to make our square, right? We're going to round it. And then we're going to add our circle. Well, that one's actually it's a slot. So we're going to add our slot. And now we're going to extrude this. Boom. So before we would have had we would have sketch, extrude, fillet, sketch, extrude. That's 5 different steps. And what we just did is we just did a one sketch and one extrude. So we went from 5 steps to 2 just by simply doing that. So if you don't know what I meant, you could have that. So that was the easy way. The hard way would have been coming here on top, making our square, right? Extruding it up, filleting our sides, sketching our slot, and then extruding our slot. So which way would you rather do? Would you rather do the easy way or the hard way? Not that it was hard, it's just a little bit more time consuming. So next problem, we're slowing down. This one, just a square with all these different rounds on it. So that's totally fine. We can do this, right? So let's make, what do we got? Like I said, I need to pull this up so I can remember. So we'll do a square, and then we got some sort of circle thing, right? And we extrude it. Well, I guess that's quite not right, but that's fine. And I can hit extrusion on this side. I can do another circle. You know, there's a center point. I can drag it over. I can do something through there. Extrude it. This has a circle all the way through, right? There's my center point. Extrude it out. And then this is kind of doing the thing where if you ever like find yourself and you made something ugly, just add rounds to everything, you know? Like just come in here, hit fillet, and just enjoy yourself, you know? Just click literally everything and say, you know, YOLO, like, you know, you're not the boss of me. If I want to make all this round, I'll make it. Oh, what do you mean it's not makeable? And you'll be like, it doesn't matter. Like, this is just a world of my imagination. I don't care what you think. And just bring it in. Oh. And look, is that the same? No, but you get the gist, you know? Oh, so sue me. What's the next one? All right. This one we're going to need to make a plane. And this is kind of where we start getting into it's not so simple. There's more than one way. Focus. There's more than one way to like skin a horse. So for this way, why aren't you focused? So for this way, we can basically make that U shape. Then we can bring that thing in and then we can cut it. We can do that. So that's probably the way I would make it. Excuse me. So we'll make our big ol', there's our base. And then we'll use the arc, center point, 3 point. I want to do a 3 point. I remember this time. Well, I don't want to go all the way. I can do like a line here and a line here. And I want to make sure that those are equal to each other. And then I can make a 3 point arc. My 1 point, my other point, come up to there. I can hit this and I can offset it just a little bit. It doesn't really matter. Yeah. And I can extrude this out. So, well, no, because I want this part, so I have to finish that. So that was wrong. I need to basically do a different arc. See what I mean? Like, you know, I was getting really cocky, and then, you know, I knew we'd get to a point where I'd start getting less cocky. See, that's too high. All right, let's try this. Let's offset it. Don't chain the selection. Take off that one. Just do this one. Hit OK. Well, I should bring this down. There, we'll do that. And then I can make this. I knew there's a point where I would have my foot in my mouth. And bring it up. For those just joining us, we're making this shape right here. What's up, CheapShot? Man, already learned something. The constraints are badass. Yep, the constraints are badass. And you can use that for a lot of things. Like, you know, so, you know, he's talking about the constraints I was talking about. So, like, if I was sketching on here, you got a lot of different ones. You have horizontal, vertical. So you want it horizontal or vertical clearly. Coincide, so things that are touching. Tangent, that's really cool for circles. It's actually really cool. This circle tool that they have is a 3 tangent circle. So if I say that I want something tangent on 2 or 3 lines, it works. Equals, you'll use that a lot. Parallel, 2 lines parallel to each other. That's just kind of like the offset. Same thing with perpendicular. Fix, you just want it to stay there. So that means, for example, if I change another line or some line moves, that line doesn't move. I want that line to stay. Be careful with the fixed because it's really easy to get over constrained with the fixed. And over constrained is basically where somebody is like, not somebody, but a line is basically like, oh, I can't do that because I've got too many things holding on to me. Midpoint, you know, it kind of does automatically. Midpoint on a line, coincide, collinear symmetry. You know, there's a lot of different options in here. I normally don't use constraints a lot. Constraints are good for very complex parts, but you know, the things that I'm designing and printing aren't that complex, and especially good if you have another person working on the same project that you're working on. You know, if someone's doing that, you know, there might be things that you don't want to move, like tolerances, or where like these bolt holes might line up. So for example, like it would be a good way to lock these. If I were to make these bolt holes, it would be a good idea to lock these bolt holes in place. That way, it sounds like I'm saying buttholes. It would be a good idea to lock these bolt holes in place because, you know, all of this can change. That's fine. But if the bolt holes don't line up, then the bolt holes don't line up and it's not going to attach to whatever I'm bolting it to. You know, so that would be a good thing for the, to use those constraints for. So now we ask, how am I going to take and get this part off the side of it? So you know how I use this as a midplane? I'm going to basically make another plane. You know, I don't need to make another plane. I can just do it from here. So I'm going to sketch on not this plane. And I'm going to basically make another plane halfway down. So I'm going to make a plane here, but it's offset. I changed my mind. I'm going to make another midplane, but this time between the two, Then I'll sketch my part, and then I will sketch it, you know, a little bit each way. The symmetry. So what do we got? We just basically got a thing that's like rounded. So let's just come up to here. Right? And we'll use these equals again. We'll make that equal to that. See how it didn't lock in. There we go. And you can use like symmetry, so you can say I want that symmetrical on like another piece, like this. It's gonna mess up, or it's not gonna do it. But you can do that, but that works too. And then so for this, I want to, what's it got? It's rounded. So let's add our rounds. Oops, I'm not done yet. It's got a circle. And then I can just connect these. And I don't really need, you know, it doesn't really need to be connected, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to extrude this out. Two sides symmetric, because I don't care. I want it to go the same way both sides. It's cutting because it has that. We want to join it. And even though we have this part here, I can, like I did before, I can click on that, extrude it down, and delete it. Now it does have some fancy little features, some more fillets. I can flay this. This will be especially good for 3D printing. When you're 3D printing, 90 degree angles are your enemy, because that's where you have a weak point. So fillets are good for structural. This will be a lot stronger than before. Now, if I were doing it a different orientation, you may also be interested in like, you may be interested. It sounds like I'm trying to sell you a Bible at like door to door. But you could have like a flay right here, depending on where the orientation you're printing it. And that'll really beef up strength. But there we have that. So next we got this part. This part we have a base. We've got another part that comes up, and then we got a circle. We can make this part pretty straightforward. So let's make our base. It is just a rectangle. We have some fillets over here, and then we have some bolts. See how I can lock this and have these, you know, these are different size. I can do equals on these too. Nothing says you have to do equals only on line. So extrude that up. Right, we got that. Next part, see how this part's kind of off on the side? That's fine. So we can sketch on this side. And we can do a center point rectangle like that. And what, it's got a circle that kind of sits in it. That works. And then we can just extrude this out the back. It kind of had a two-part chamfer on it. Not a two-part chamfer, but like a two-part circle thing. So see how it snaps to that? We can bring it out. And now there's not enough room for me to do that other feature. So one thing that I can do is I can come back to this sketch. I can edit it, and I can make it a lot longer. So I can come over here to sketch dimension, and I can see that I need to like make it a lot bigger. And because I didn't use constraints, that didn't come with it, which, you know, sucks. But I can just bring it up, it's fine. And then it did all that. So we got this little support piece. There's a couple different ways we can do the support piece, but you know, I'm just a big you know, and it's what you're comfortable with. You know, it's almost like a fingerprint. There was a kid that in one of my modeling classes, he actually got caught cheating because he wasn't doing very well, which I don't understand why. It's like, it was a very easy class. And he wasn't doing very well, but he turned in his final, which was a multi-day, project. You had multiple days to do it. And, he turns in this beautiful project, this beautiful modeling. And they go like, dude, like, this is way better than like what you've been, not like you tried hard, this is better than what you've been doing, but like, you clearly did not do this. And he admitted he paid someone on Fiverr like $50 to do his final report, not his final report, but his final project. But it's just, you kind of get your own style of modeling and you develop that. I'm a big fan of extrusions. I don't really like sweeps and blends and stuff. I mean, you have to use them sometimes, but you kind of get your own thing going. Real quick, can you clarify the difference between a 2 and 3 point rectangle? Yeah, so all it is when you're sketching it is how I make it. So if the default's a 2 point rectangle, so I'm just making 1 point and then I'm making another point, right? So, I drag it this side, I drag it this side. The 3 point rectangle, it can be kind of, easy if I like, do it over here and bring it over. Sometimes that might be trickier. So you might want to do a 3 point rectangle where basically you're just doing one side and then you're doing the other. So you basically start off with a line. I know that I want this one to be 94 and then how high it is. It's basically, instead of doing both sides at the same time, you're doing one side and then the other. So it really doesn't matter. It's great for if you like want it to snap onto something. So if I want it to, if I want this to snap on there and I want that to snap on there, whoops, that was the wrong triangle. If I want this to snap on here and I want this to snap on here and I want it to come up, then the 3 point triangle or 3 point rectangles for you. But like I said, you kind of get your own design, your own fingerprint on how you want to make these parts. I remember when I was a Boy Scout, or when I was a Cub Scout, these are different things. This is a Creo specific thing, so I'm not actually going to do this. But it has different ways of which you can essentially make like holes, like bolt holes. Oh, you know what? We actually do that. Fusion's got a hole tool. So we've done a lot of extrusions, but another thing to like make our holes, but another thing is like, these things actually have hole tools. It's under create and it's hole. And I can click on like where I want to make a hole. And then it'll have all sorts of different features that I can do. Is the different types that I can make it. This is good, especially if you want to add like, different things to your 3D prints, and I want this angled shape. It can really help a lot. But I'm not going to play with that too much. So, but there's a whole function. So I'm considering that one done. We got a bolt. This one's tricky because it's got the groove in the top. So how are we going to make that groove? We're going to pay attention to, we've just kind of been YOLOing where we're designing these parts. And, and that's because of the nature of what we're doing. But with this one, now we need to have some more thought. We're getting towards the harder parts. So we have a hex-shaped bolt, right? So I think what we're going to do is we're going to make a hex, and we're going to make a circle, and we're going to bring it in. Then we'll bring another circle out, but we want to make sure that we have this on a plane, so we have a plane here to make this cut. So when I make my hex, and it's great, this is the thing that pisses me off about Creo, is they don't have a hex tool. You have to make it with equals and everything, and I hate that. Versus in Fusion, you have, can I find it? A polygon tool. So, do you want it to go to the wall or do you want it to go to the point? For us, it doesn't really matter. So there's my hex. There's my circle. Now you notice I made that in the center. I'll tell you why in a second. I did that. So now I can come in and I can make a sketch on here because it can't go all the way through. And I can just make that equal. See how before I couldn't click in the middle, I had to make that circle. I can bring that out. So there's my hex head. I can sketch on this. I can make the shaft of my bolt. Bring it out. So, I mean, how am I going to make this little groove in here? Well, I made it in the middle. So now if I sketch on this plane, I'm right in the middle, and I can just make, you know, a bowl shape. And we can, if I can't click twice, you know, I can just make this bowl shape once again using my favorite equal tools, you know, because it doesn't really matter for this. Make those equal to each other. I want to make these parallel. And I want to take this whole thing and just drag it. I can't unless I move it. No, it's not going to work. But I have that finished. And then I can extrude it. And I want to go, you know, symmetric. But I just want to go a little bit. And it made my slot. This would be great for like a cotter pin or something. And the rest of it just has some, not fillets, it has chamfers. Just to kind of make it purdy. And there. We got my little bolt hole. Oh, when my wife gets back from her trip, I'm gonna call her that. She's gonna get the airport back. Oh, my little bolt hole, how are you? How are you, my little bolt hole? Once again, let me know if you're enjoying this, if you're learning something. Like Brandon asked, if there's anything in Fusion that you want to learn, let me know. How many more of these we got? Like I said, we're going to try and do roughly 50. We're going through it all. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So we're about halfway. I don't know if we'll get through them all. Some of these are about the same. So like these are sweeps. We'll probably just do one of those. Some of them are just, you know, this is just learning the pattern tool. So literally making this will be the same as making this. It's literally just the pattern tool. So let's keep going. We did that. This is using the revolve tool, right? So we'll just do one of these because it'll all basically be the same. We'll like my headphones just died. Oh no. Sorry. I think I had a little audio issue. Printed takedown pins. Yeah, that could be a good idea too. I don't know how well those will work, but you can do printed takedown pins. So this one is a revolve feature. So what's a revolve feature? Basically, you're doing a plane of something and then you're making it circular, like a chess pawn or something. So we want to take and do this. Same thing, we want to pay attention to the axis that we're on. So when I extrude this, I'm going to make it symmetric. That way I keep it in the center axis. And then I want to sketch on that center axis. And I only want to do, you know, half of a shape. So that's going to be my line. And then like I want to make some kind of like weird shape. And it doesn't really matter. I can do anything. I can do anything. Isn't that the Reading Rainbow? So I can do that. And then let's say just for some gosh darn reason I wanted to make this revolve around. Well, I can select basically my sketch, create, come down here into a, where was it at? Where is it at? If there's anything in here you want to see how to learn, let me know. I'm looking for revolve. Where the hell? There it is, revolve. So I already have my profile selected and it's going to ask what axis I want it to revolve around. I can do it on this one, but that looks pretty funny. That was like a jet engine. Or I can do it like I intended on that one. And boom, that's a revolve. Yeah, so Adam, what CAD program did you originally learn on? Because I know a lot of people, they either learned on like, if they haven't used CAD in a while, it was either like Creo or Autodesk, or I know one guy, he still uses OpenCAD, or OpenSCAD, which was literally like, if he wanted to make a circle, he had to code in circle, this point, open up. And like he sent me a file one time and it was just ridiculous. Like I'm like, I can't look at this like without being old. So what did you learn to use CAD on? This is a mirrored pocket. So let's make just a square. Open it up. Whoops. Bring it up. And basically we're just going to make one point of it. I'm going to do some center lines. Some modeling things have what's called construction lines, so it's lines that you can make that don't really matter. I'm sure Fusion 360 has them too. I just don't use them. So we want to make some more lines, and let's just say that we want to do like just a weird like curvy shape. Whoops. So I can take this, and I need to add just a couple of things. These lines I added, they don't really matter. I think that's why it doesn't really matter about construction lines, is because you can choose to ignore them in Fusion, versus Creo is going to get really mad if you don't use them. So now I can take this and I can extrude it down. SolidWorks for school. Yep. A lot of schools use SolidWorks. So I can take this, and we've already done a mirror. We've gone a little ahead in the book. So I can select this profile, and I can do a few things, right? So I can mirror it across this plane, and I think I could also mirror it across another plane. Nope, it won't let me. So I can mirror it across that plane, which is something we've already done. Create mirror. Well, we've already seen us do mirror. One thing that I can do is I can also make an axis, and I can, if I can figure out how to get in the middle. Sometimes I can't figure out how to get it in the middle. So I just kind of make a circle, and then I make my my axis through that. Whoops, it's not gonna work. And you'll see why I'm gonna make this axis here in a second. So let's make this all the way down. It wants me to use a mirror, but we've already learned mirror. We're gonna use a pattern. So now I can create, and what I'm basically trying to do is I'm trying to get a circle there, because now I want to take this and I want to pattern this. The object I want to be that extrusion, and the axis I want it to be this. And it's telling me, you know, I can make 3 of these. Yeah, they're all kind of expensive. I actually realize this isn't going to work because it's not going to show up in the right way. But it's all right. We'll be doing patterns here the next part. That looks like something else. So never mind. I guess I'm getting ahead of myself. Even Fusion's pretty expensive for personal use. I think like the personal use one is like $40 a month. I don't know. What's I did that video over getting it, you know, for free. You have some functionality limited too, but I think for most people it won't really matter. But I think it's, yeah, $60 a month. That's a lot, you know, especially like $495 a year. It's probably the cheapest, but I mean, they're asking a lot. But like I said, most people can do the for personal use, and they don't need to, you know, they're not going to miss those features. So I procrastinated long enough. Let's take this part. We are going to mirror it. Our object is this one. Our face is this one. And it brought it to the other side. And then we can do that same thing. We can select those, and we can mirror those along this plane. And then we can do the same thing. And then boom. It's not, does it look the same as this? No, but that's the gist of it. It was learning the mirror tool. So that one is essentially the same as the part we just did a couple times ago. They just added some like fillets for a reason. I don't know why we're not doing it. This one, it's gonna be a little bit more tricky. There's gonna be a few ways you can do this. I'm going to do it the way I like to do it because you're watching me. So let's make a new part. I'm going to start off with the tube. Now, I'm going to have a lot of things that are symmetrical. So lovely. Thank you. You're lovely, Daniel. So there's a few different things that, like, you know, I can do. So I want to make sure I'm focusing on what, you know, we can't be doing this again. We need to be paying attention. Get your head in the game, guys. So right away, we're going to just make this center tube. And we got to keep in mind, we're going to be coming back to this because I'm going to end up filling this tube with shit. So edit it at the top. We need a flange on the top and bottom. I only want to make one flange. So I'm going to make just, well, what did I just say, Jared? I just said pay attention to what you're doing. So instead of making a midplane, I can just make the midplane I already have work for me. Make it symmetric. Boom. So now I can use a center point. So not Daniel, Brando, when you were talking before about a 2-point and a 3-point rectangle, you can also do a center point rectangle and just do it in the center. But I also need to make this little flange part, right? And I only want to bring up this part. And I need to give it some circles, some mounting holes. I can do now what I wanted to do before with the pattern tool. So here's my circles. I want to recreate these circles. I need to make a axis through my circle. That's what I'm going to go around. I could have used a circle. I didn't necessarily need to make that. I want to do a circular pattern. I want to pattern that extrusion around this axis. I want to do it 4 times, duplicates it. Now I want this whole thing on the bottom. So I want to make sure I do my pattern. I want to make sure I do my extrusion and my sketch. Mirror it. Select them all again because I'm an idiot. Oops, that one's. And I want to mirror it along this plane here. And there, oh, I forgot to do my circles, but that's okay because I can edit this circle to come all the way down. Oh, and that means I have to update this. Well, damn. Sorry, hold on. Get the extrusion, get that sketch, get that, create, mirror. On the side. Okay. What the fuck did it do? I'm struggle busting right now, dudes. We're going to do this. We're just going to mirror this part. Create. Mirror it. Crossed it. Okay. Now we'll take and we'll do our circles. We'll bring it all the way down. Construct, axis, okay. Create, pattern, circular pattern, object, is that extrusion, axis, is this one, 4, all right. See, no, stick to the stuff you know. So we got that part, and now we need this part coming out. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sketch on this plane, and I'm actually starting my sketch inside of the tube, but that's okay. Because I'm just gonna delete everything. So I can extrude it out. It's gonna want to go to delete, but I can do join instead. Then I can take and I can make my flange on this side. And I can bring it in this way. I can do my circles. So let's do it without making that axis. I think I can do it. I don't know. I don't say words right. I think I have a speech impediment. You know, it's one of those things where, like, I've never been told I have a speech impediment, but I've also never been told I don't have a speech impediment. So I don't know if that's a thing. So for all I know, I could be an idiot. I am an idiot. I think I can just select that circle. Yeah, I didn't even need to make that axis. Maybe I did because now it's wanting to be dumb. All right, let's make the axis. So yeah, I could be an idiot. You guys could be watching an idiot right now and you don't even know it. Like, you know, someone could be walking by and be like, oh, who are you watching? You're watching that idiot? Let's be honest, they probably are. I have no idea why it's doing that. I have no idea. That is so weird. You guys literally just watched me do this and it worked fine. That's okay. I don't know what's going on, but you know enough to fix it. But I got this part sticking in here. Easy peasy. I can come up here to the top. I can make another circle. See how it matches that circle I've already got? And I can extrude it down, deleting everything. And there is my thing. It made that. I don't know why I didn't do that, but that's an easy fix too. To just come over here and do that. And I can extrude that and delete it. Boom. And there's my pipe. Now, does it look as pretty? Oh, it was a circle. I made myself look like an idiot and I didn't need to do that. It's got the fillets on the side, but like, you know, we know how to do fillets. All right. Let's go to the next part. This little weird boomerang shape. I don't think we need to see this weird boomerang shape, right? Because we're just going to extrude this boomerang shape. We're going to extrude it up, extrude it around. We got circles, squares. We don't need to see that. I don't think we need to see this either, right? This is kind of like the part we've already done. Like, what part was it? Like this part. I don't think we need to see that one, right? If you guys want to see it, let me know. Because I said I'll go through them all. But like, these are basically the same. This one, we'll go over this one real quick. And I know you're like, oh, CheapShot, that looks super freaking easy. But it's not, because this one has a different plane. So you've seen me make mid-planes. I love mid-planes. Mid-planes are my favorite. But this one's going to kind of have like an offset plane. We can see that it goes through at an angle. And so we can't come down, you know, we can make it on the top, but it's not going to have that angle that we want, especially coming out. So we need to make kind of like an angled offset plane that will draw it on. So we can construct a plane at an angle right there and see how we can adjust it now. So remember that this plane is going to you know, it stretches infinity. It goes on forever. So now I can sketch on this plane, create a sketch, and this will let me do, you know, see how I'm at it right there? So this will let me take and, you know, come down, over, up, and around. And then I can extrude this in through it like that. Let's edit that just because it's a little. And boom. There we have that. So like I said, you got a lot of things up here for making different planes and whatnot. This part, so now we're getting into some tricky stuff. So let's start paying attention, folks. Because we're going to start talking about sweeps. How are we going to make this? We already know how to make a circle. Not a circle, but a pipe. That's totally fine. Make our pipe. Extrude it out. Let's make it long. We already got that. That was easy. We got another pipe. I can't tell if that is actually no, this is the same thing as we did before. I don't think this is curved. Well, let's just make this and say it's curved. So we're gonna do it on this plane. We're gonna have another pipe coming out. I'm not gonna go back in. This is gonna have parts that are like inside of it. I'm not gonna go back in and close that. You guys know how to come back through and delete that. Right? So now I want a curved piece from here to here of a curved pipe. So create my sketch. I want it to curve from, let's say, here to here. How do I get that to curve? I'm going to do what's called a sweep. So I need to make I need to bring this down to a plane that I can draw on. And that should be fine. So now I need to come down here on this plane. And basically that line I just made is my shape is going to follow that line. So this is where we start to get tricky. So we're going to sweep it, select the profile, that's that circle, and select the path, this one, and boom, okay, cool, I did it. You can make it pretty, but I think I can keep going, or I can cut it. But see how I was able to bring it along that line? God, that looks ugly shit. That looks ugly as sin. But it's a sweep. You learn how to do a sweep. I'm pretty sure I did a video over a sweep a couple days ago in my Fast Fusion videos, which are just real quick, short videos. It's just like, hey, there's this thing that you want to do in Fusion 360. This is how you do it in like 10 seconds. No, you know, oh, hey guys, thanks for watching CheapShot. You know, I'm sorry I haven't made a video in a while. I went to Adventureland, you know, I'm not that important. But that's one. This one, they just did the same thing. Like I said, they did an offset plane. This is a pattern. We've learned to do patterns. If you want to see these, if I'm skipping one that you want to see, let me know. But I've already done these. They are the same part. And it's mostly because it's from the same chapters, you know. But, hey, do me a favor. If you're watching, drop a like, please. I'd really appreciate that, you know. And I would really appreciate it. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. All right, this one's kind of a pattern too. This one is using a feature from Creo where you can take and pattern and grow. I don't know. So basically I can say I want it to come in and I also want it to come up. I don't really know where you'd use that in, like, you know, real life, but I guess you could. I think it's just a Creo thing. So let's extrude this up. Once again, I'm using the Creo Parametric 6.0 tutorial. It cost me like, I don't know how much money on Amazon. I'm pretty sure the GI Bill paid for it. But that's what we're doing. So basically, I don't know if I can make this. So basically, it was a pattern. Yeah, I don't think this is... Yeah, this is just a weird Creo thing, so we're not going to do it. But basically, we could pattern this on the inside and just make it go. But we're not going to do that because that's just a weird showing off Creo thing. This is, let's make this, it's like a pumpkin shape. So how can we make this pumpkin shape? We can make a circle. We can make a sphere. Fusion has a sphere tool, or we can make a half circle and revolve it. That works too. So let's do that. Let's make, like I said, you got the sphere tool, but we'll just make a circle and then we will cut it in half. Then we will take this, we will revolve it around itself. Then this might get hard to view. You can change the visual style. I normally like to work with wireframe, or there's one that makes it kind of look like a cartoon. I use that a lot. But we can cut up the top and the bottom and basically make it flat surfaces that'll give us a chance to sketch on. Right? So now we got this. And, you know, we got to make this pumpkin shape. Well, let's do the circle real quick because we can do that. Right? Come down. It's got a chamfer there. It's got a chamfer there. And then this is going to use that, once again, something I've already shown you. We'll just do that. I'm sure you would actually want to like measure it out, you know, naturally. And let's extrude that down. And I want to take and pattern this, not pattern this, yeah, pattern it, a circular pattern. Select this shape down here for the shape that I want to do. The axis is going to be that green axis. How many can I get? 3. We'll do 6. And boom. Look at that. Does that look the same? No, but it's the same tools. Are you impressed? Because I'm impressed. It's 7:35 p.m. I'm drinking a Monster Energy Ultra Fiesta. I think Taco Bell needs to put that in icy. I'd eat it. This is the same thing. This is going to be a circular pattern in 2 directions. So how can we do in Fusion 360 a circular pattern in 2 directions? I'm not asking you. I'm asking me. Because once again, these are some very specific Creo tools that I don't know. I'm sure I can do it. You know, I'm sure you could do it in Fusion. But have I ever done it? No. I haven't had a need to because it's weird. I don't know if you can tell, but I didn't prepare for this at all. I mean, I prepared. I literally bought a brand new microphone in anticipation for this. But I also didn't, like, you know, practice these beforehand. So our object is this. Our axis is in the center of this. But see, I don't think there's a way to like bring it down. So that just might be a Fusion thing. Not a Fusion thing, a Creo thing. It doesn't really matter because I wouldn't want to make that anyway. This is kind of the part, we've made that part, unless you want to see me make that part. I swear, they must got like a hard-on for these parts. This one, let's make this one. Little wing nut. If you got something that you want to see, we're, believe it or not, we're reaching the end. So if you've got a part or something that you want to see how to sketch, you know, something that you see lying around your house, let me know and we'll sketch that just so you can kind of learn. Or if there's something in Fusion that you want to learn how to do, let me know. I'd be more than happy to do it. But we're going to kind of do this to make the wing nut. You know, there's different ways. Like I said, I'm a big fan. I'm an extruder. And the reason I'm an extruder is, like, I didn't finish telling the story. Someone distracted me. Is when I was in the Cub Scouts, and I've told the story before, we were, like, practicing, like, whittling. And one of the things you had to whittle was, like, a bear. And it was, like, for, you know, some Cub Scout award. And I was like, oh, like, Dad, like, how do I make a bear? And I'm thinking, oh, well, you start with this, you start with this. No, the jerk said, he says, okay, well, you take your bar of soap and, you know, it starts off as a square. And all you do is you take your knife and you remove everything that doesn't look like a bear. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. I was like, oh, wow, thanks, Dad, you jerk knob. So one thing we got to keep in mind is we're going to extrude this around. So I started on this center line. That was a bad idea because when I extrude it around, it would just come to a point. So that would have been a bad idea. And then now see how I automatically did these perpendicular things? Some different things make it so that way it's like equals, but Fusion doesn't do that. That's okay. So I can take this and I can revolve it around. Our axis is going to be that one. And then it's kind of got like a hexagon-y shape to it. Notice how before we did the polygon, we had it to the corner, or we had it to the wall and then we had it to the corner. We want to do the corner this time because if we did it to the wall, it could be bigger than the surface of which we're extruding on. And there we go. Is it close? A little bit. How do you add a design or texture to a rounded surface, such as stipples or a logo to a rounded face? Fusion 360 actually, as far as I'm concerned, up until a few months ago, you couldn't, well, you can't necessarily add anything to a rounded face because it has to be, we are making something three-dimensional on a two-dimensional screen. So you can't make that, that 3D shape or that on a rounded surface. If you could, I wouldn't have needed to go back through and extrude out and then cut that. But if you were doing like text or something, Fusion just added this actually. It's on, you can do like an emboss. No, that's not it. Is it? No, they just did, you kind of can't. So if I wanted to sketch on this circle, I hit sketch, it doesn't let me. It pulls out the flat planes. Like here's that circle, sketch, won't let me. You would have to, do something else. So if I wanted to stipple this, something that I could do is how could I stipple this? I can do it on this plane. And let's say I wanted to make little circles. 0.5. I could take and extrude those out. Wow, I made that small. Let's do it like this. Now, if someone, and I could be wrong. I mean, I know I'm over here like teaching you this, but like I'm not an expert. I'm sure there's some ways that you could do it on a surface, but and the whole time I've been doing it, I haven't learned. I haven't experienced anyone who's done it. I haven't seen it done. So let's say I wanted to add some stipples to this, some textures. I just did that. I can take and I can do what's called a pattern, and I can do a rectangular pattern. And the directions, my objects, I want this. And I don't want to do a rectangular pattern. I lied. I want to do I do, but I just want to go one way. Sorry. And my direction, I want to extend. Damn, you've really made it tricky for me, dude. Rectangular pattern, that feature. I want to go along a single line. God damn it. Yeah, I know I want to revolve it, but I want to add more. So like I need to add just I like want to make more down the side. So, but I can't figure out how I can take. So what he's basically saying is I'm having an issue making more of these. I could just click this. That's what I want to do my circle pattern up. Or maybe it's not because it's not on that plane. Click that. Pattern. Circle pattern. All right. Objects. Do around there. Okay. And we want to make a bunch of them. No, dude, I'm an idiot, man. This is fine. So we got all these. And basically, we should be able to figure out, well, you don't want to do too much, and Fusion may get mad. But basically, he's taking these, and we should be able to pattern these in a rectangular pattern. So we have all those selected. There we go. Now we got it. I don't know what's major malfunction was, but then we can add a whole bunch. And if Fusion's going to get mad, it's going to tell me to do something. Oh, never mind. But boom. And there we can have some sort of texture to it. I don't know why that messed up. But you could do that in reverse too. You could bring it out. You could stagger them, revolve them all. Yeah, that's what we did when I was telling you before when we did the flag thing. I don't know if you were there for that live stream, but the guy wanted to make a flag. So this part. All right. This is my favorite part. We just did a video on this a little bit ago, and it's my favorite part because it's so easy in Fusion. This is going to be called a blended sweep. Fusion 360 calls it a, oh yeah, look at you go. Oh yeah. Fusion 360 calls it a loft. We're going to go from one shape to another. So we want to start off with, let's look at this. We go from a square to a circle, or we go from a diamond pattern to a circle. So let's start off with our base, right? And I want these to equal each other. Whoops, that's parallel. No, it's equal. That to that. Finish. Extrude it up. So now we make our cross. And if I actually wanted to make it, I just got this, like, I don't know why, but my mouse is just super sensitive. And sometimes when I do these things, it clicks twice without me even thinking about it. So I want to make this equal to that. We'll make that equal to that. That equal to that. We'll make those equal. Make that equal to that. That'll equal to that. This equal to this. That equal to that. See how it's slowly forming? And we'll just send them all to each other. And then we got our cross. Over with constraint, that's fine. Wow, that looks ugly. Never mind. We're going to do this. Rectangle. Rectangle. Call that finished. All right, we want to extrude this up to a circle. So we need to make an offset plane. We'll bring it up there. So our circle that we want to sketch it to is to there. Kind of like when we did before with the other normal loft. We need to make a path for it to follow, which this is going to be a straight line. We could have done, you could do a zigzag line or anything. And so we want to take and go from a loft. We want a loft from all of this, that's profile 1, to profile 2. Boom. Pretty cool, huh? This is my favorite. That would have taken an hour in Creo, at least. And the reason it would have was because Creo has a hard time with Fusion makes it so seamless. So basically we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We have 12 points on this cross, going up to no points on our circle. And you can even see where they had to add some of those points onto the circle. I can drag these around if I don't like how they're kind of, in place. But Creo just makes it so hard to do that. And I know this isn't a bashing on Creo convention, but God, I hate Creo. And it just sucks that I have to use it for, most of the stuff that I do. But see how easy it is. So that's if you wanted to, make it a little, if you wanted to clean it up or something. I just made it ugly. I just did the reverse of it. But that's a fast fusion video. It got mad at me. That's a fast fusion video. If you want to check that out, if you want to watch me do it with, I do it to an I-beam to a T-beam. Be sure to like and subscribe and look at that one. This is a hook. So like I said, we can do that loft, or they call it something else. We can do a sweep or a loft on a curve. In fact, the picture, of course, has it on a curve. So for this snatch block, it's pretty simple. This was actually my final. Your final, you had to do like a couple different parts, and this was one of them we had to do. So I'm just going to do some sort of weird shape like this. God damn it. So, but my shape, I want it to be like a hook. So I don't know. We'll make it like that. And then I can do my sweep, my profile. I want this, this, and this. My path is I want this. And I want to join it. And there's my hook. God, that looks ugly as hell. Ugly as hell. But that's using the what do they call it again? I call it a sweep. They call it a sweep. That's using the sweep tool, which is what that part would tell us. This is doing the sweep tool, same thing, except it's doing it. You know, you can come over here and make a shape. I want to do it on that plane. You can come over here and like make a shape. I want that to be parallel. Oh, not parallel. I just want that to be horizontal. I want these to be equal each other in length. I want these to be parallel. I messed up. That needs to be connected to that. So basically what it's trying to say is you can take and make it any shape you want. So if I wanted to make a polygon, I can take and sweep. My profile plane is that one. My path is this line. And I can bring it all the way around. I don't know why it's getting mad at the end, but there he goes. You know, be great for a cookie cutter, you know, if you wanted to 3D print a nice cookie cutter, which I've done. And Mrs. CheapShot loves her 3D print cookie cutters. That's the same thing, just filled in the middle. We'll make this propeller because that's the second to last one. We're almost done. We're almost done. So we're rounded up at the top. Let's make this circle. Comes up. Right. We got to take and we're actually going to start a new one because once again, this is a hard one where we need to make sure our planes are intact or we're going to be sitting there adding a million. So come up. We'll add, I mean, you could use like a fillet and kind of make like a dome piece. I guess we'll just do that. That's fine. And then it comes over here. We want to make just, let's kind of do like arc shape, like an arc. So if we were making a propeller like this and we need to make it thick so we can offset it just a little bit, connect them up, hit OK. We can extrude that out, join, and then we can take that and we can, I think this wanted us to, oh, okay. This is different. This is basically they did basically they made this, but then it goes to like a different shape. So it goes from there to here and it's kind of curved, but then they have it come to like a like let's say it comes to a straight piece. I was wondering why that. I'm like, this is like a pattern. We already did that. But then it comes to this shape, you know? So we need to have the line of which it's sketched on. I think it'll follow it if I do this. Sometimes like in Creo, it wants it to be like in the middle of the sketches that you're doing. I don't know if, now this should work because it's got the same amount. Oh no, it's got to be the other one because I got to select 2 profile planes. So I want to go from this one to that one. And my rail is this. I guess it doesn't really matter. Join. See, that's what it wanted us to do. And then we can take that loft, not that loft, this loft sweep, it's all the same thing. And we can circle pattern it around the base. And boom, we made propellers. We're submarine engineers now. And then we got the final one. Oh, I closed it. Oh, the final one was just another thing. It was like, I can't just say it was just another thing. It was basically using the loft. It was basically making using the loft to make a square, or the sweep to make a square, and then lofting it from one to another. So that's all the parts. That is all the exercise parts in this entire book. You guys can now come to the school that I go to, take Intro to Mechanical Engineering Design, and you pass it with flying colors. But it's a great class. So is there anyone that has anything else in Fusion that they want to learn? Any modeling things that they want to learn? Any 3D printing questions? We're just hanging out now. My bladder's filling up, so I don't know how long it'll be, but let me know. You know, I can just talk. That's fine. I appreciate all of you. We'll just give it a few questions, a few minutes if anyone's got any questions. So let me know if anyone's got any questions as we finish up. Give it like 20 more seconds. Got a question, ask it. Make sure you join the Discord. I'm pretty active on there. Like and subscribe. Patreon, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, OnlyFans. That's down in the description on the link tree. If not, there's CheapShot. Thanks for watching. Glad you guys liked it. I don't know how to end these things. All right, deuces.